Yahoo! Prof here, and we've got another video for you guys right here. Box tape guy is still in business. Haven't had a shipment direct from China in a while, but he's still got his job cut out for him. The one thing I will say is I have definitely figured out why things were delayed. Yep. Once again, caught by customs. I shouldn't say caught. There wasn't anything to catch, but inspected by customs. Lovely. Well, time to crack this bad boy open and see if everything's there. See what they took a peek at, etc. For those wondering, this should be the new topping DX9 in black, which looks just mean. Yeah, but of course, can't have it easy, can we? Hey, would you look at that? So far, it looks like Customs was nice enough not to open up my brand new product. I don't know what this guy is over here. It's a little auxiliary box. I do 99% sure this comes with the remote again as well, and the better remote that I ordered for the DX7 Pro as well. So that may be what's in there. Cables otherwise? We'll see. Yeah, let me get this opened up here, and at least this, because all this would be no longer taught if they had opened this guy up. So maybe what gave them pause was in this little box. Also, I can see the little window right there. So my only guess there is that looks like an UPC, a UPC. Yes, I called it an UPC. That somebody cut out. Normally, in the U.S. at least, you'd cut those out because of RMA. In this case, that's part of the reason why they wrap the box is to like debrand the box. Another thing I will say is that could actually be the UPC for this item or a different item, so I could figure out or maybe that was a price tag, that sort of thing. On the declaration, it was only $400. I wish that were the case. Okay, I didn't declare that, just as a heads up to government. And maybe raw materials, it's that. If so, 3x price increase. Oof. So let me get this out of here. We'll take a look, get it cracked open. We're using the bed again, sadly, because there's more FedEx not open. There's a pile of crap I gotta take care of. There's another pile of packages I haven't opened up. A lot of these you're gonna be seeing because they're well worth it. Do you like the foam? Always nice to have protection. It does look like this should be the topping, like the shipping topping box, because that foam fits it exactly. It does look like it's like cracked off of other pieces, so maybe they made like an big extrusion and chopped off pieces or something. I mean, but this fits this box, so it's not like they like picked a random box and put some foam in. See, so let me flip it out here, flop it over, flip it out, whatever you want to call it, and I'll let you see the product. All right, so I cleaned things up. Because I shouldn't say clean things up. I moved it off the carts. Let's check a look what's in this auxiliary box here that was kind of padding things. Oh, I know why this might be. This might just be the power cable. This is Tuck HD because it's got the little cutout there. In my Hunter Orange. This is the matte black one. Blade needs to get flipped over. Hey! 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 Yeah, just a cheap. I think this is a. It's not a C13, but you know, like the standard PC power cable. Cheap standard one. Ugh. Also, this wouldn't be a 13. It's a 15. It's 15 amps. It's like a NEMA 15 or something. But where do I put my glasses? Glasses. There you are. Alright. So that lame box that's kind of squished here, the black one, is just the power cable. My guess is they want to ship this internationally, so they add that later on. There's our shrinky dink wrap with this not ripped, you know, like or torn, I should say. Let's take a look at the top of the box here. You can see topping DX9. Got this cool like Darth Vader vibe. 15th anniversary. I haven't been using them that long. DX9 BK US. I don't know what particularly makes this one the US one, because you'd think it'd just be the cord, but who knows. They wanted to inspect it, that's for sure. Take guesses down in the comments below what you thought it was, or what you think they thought it was that made them want to inspect it. Just electronics coming into the US. You gotta get that tariff, or what? Just because it's me again for the umpteenth time. Flip a little bit. Ordered enough weird things, and I'm pretty sure there's some sort of list for you, you know? Premium packaging, I'm just seeing if it slides off. I think it might. So I don't destroy the outer thingy. They want you to tear it, but yeah. Here. She just slides right off. Gonna do that instead. Oh. Exactly. Exactly. So let's lift the top. Ooh, no, that's a presentation. Okay, we got foam on the inner lid, cut to size, even beveled. Normally you wouldn't see the bevel. What you would see is them layer up. Instead of like a bevel like that, what you'd see is two layers of foam. So thinner layers, and they would just kind of like stack them up differently as needed. My previous one, DX7 Pro, that's right over here. Should unplug it? Bring it over here. So here is my DX7 Pro Plus. So, really like this one. I loved the updated design. This silver, in my opinion, because on the black one, it's still a black front, the rest is just black. So this design really looked better in silver, because it's not silver, it's more gunmetal kind of color. Compared to the other silvers, which this looked much closer to in silver, which was like the standard, just boring anodized, like clear anodized aluminum color. And then I have the updated remote here. I think this one's easier to make because on the previous one, that I think actually came with DX7s, and then I brought it forward to use with my DX7 Pro. It was just milled out of this top piece, so build quality was actually better. I think this one's probably easier to make because they just mill out, like it's like a flat in there, like they mill out this part, black part here, and then you put it in the top. Whereas on the previous one, all the holes were milled out on the big chunk, and there was a flat panel on the back. I do think that this one looks better because of the like different color. However, this one I don't believe is available in black on black. So this one, the remote that comes with this, might be this same model. It's the RC22. I think the previous one was RC21. These are much nicer because they used to give you longer plastic remotes. These are much nicer. And originally the M, which is for like not mod, macro, didn't do stuff. But on the DX7 Pro, it lets you switch gain for the headphones, which they didn't have before. And then on the DX7 Pro Plus, there's a whole menu it lets you in, finally. Because previously that menu would have been accessible prior to boot up. Like you had to get into, like, think about like the BIOS or the firmware, essentially. Really like this thing. Sadly, I want to say this is probably the one I've had the most trouble with. It's actually shut off recently quite a bit and like disconnected itself. It's probably going to go out to service. Got to reach out to them. There are a lot of improvements from the Pro to the Pro Plus for sure. Like the display, like I said, you can access a lot of the resampling modes and all like tons of settings that normally you would have to like boot up into the firmware to change. You can just do live on this. Great improvement, and you can do it with the remote. It has auto off for the LCD. The reason why that's important is my other ones all kind of have like maybe not dead pixels because they're OLED, so they're like burned in pixels on the displays. My DX7s, they replaced the screen on there for cost of shipping. I may send the DX7 Pro out for the same thing. I'll reach out to him to see if it's even worth it. This guy though has been having issues where the audio starts sounding robotic. And then every now and then even fully disconnects. Like it'll be plugged in, powered up, would have been showing up to the system, but then it'll just go boop, not there anymore. Even though it says it's still connected, the PC doesn't see it. And nothing will change on the screen even if you change the volume unless you power cycle it physically to switch the pack. So not the best experience with DX7 Pro Plus. I mean, I like the updated interface and everything, but the like reliability and that sort of stuff seems to be worse. I originally bought the DX7 because a big thing about all of the DX series is that they're a DAC amp, meaning they're not two separate components. DAC amp. The other thing is that they have XLR balanced out for speakers because I use. And actually, long before I invested, I still was using my MDR-V6s. I had my M Audio BX5A studio monitor speakers. They are currently, well, one of them is back there. The other one is over there because it's getting its caps replaced, or the main cap replaced. I have to replace the other ones yet. So that's finding DAC amps. Like, I don't want to have two separate units personally because I don't care. Like, I care about quality, but like realistically, is it that much better being separate? I think what you get is customizability and that sort of stuff being separate, not necessarily more quality, especially when it comes to this guy. Or realistically, the DX7s was really nice. Annoying thing there was you didn't have independent control of headphones and speakers. Like, you could control them. I forget how I ended up dealing with that. Like, there was a way to, like, either switch outputs or mute the XLR outs or the speakers. DX7 Pro literally let you switch it, not physically on it. Oh, I think the 7S, you had to do it on it. Like, you double click the knob. DX7 Pro, you can do on the remote. You just click the headphone or line out button. So, see here. Headphone, line out. On the DX7S, that didn't work. Well, it did, but it just set what mode the line out. Like, if it was RCA or XLR or both. Same thing with headphone, was it like what mode that was in. None of the modes were off. Now if you click this, it'll switch between headphone and line out. Super nice. You can still do it on front with a double click on even the 7 Pro Plus. There's no point if you have the remote though. So let's take a peek at the packaging here. Yeah, I like I said, I did have to send my DX7 out. I thought that the screen thing had happened when I got a surge, because I had a surge that killed somehow went through the UPS and actually killed a output channel on one of my Atom audio subwoofers, my Sub 7, and added a buzz to one of the channels. Killed the UPS, and it looked like it caused the display to like go out like that. That may have not been the case now that my DX7 Pro, this, the one after the S, has having similar issues where certain pixels are dimmer than others. But like I said, they replaced it. I shipped it to them. They replaced it. For cost of shipping, I got it fixed. They fixed it under warranty. Super nice. Took a while because I was right at the beginning of COVID. So that's actually how I ended up with the DX7 Pro. Is I like the DX7S so much that I just basically bought the Pro, shipped them the S, knowing the S would come back, and I'd use it for my secondary setup or for work. I ended up using it for work. And then eventually the Pro came to work because I listen to music at work more than at home now. But then when I got the Pro Plus stayed at home because I was going for the white setup. And with that silver look to it, it had that white setup vibes going for it. So we got an on-off switch on the front, which is not traditional. Normally, you just use this guy for on and off. You just hold it. Then on the back would be a physical switch. You got a much bigger one. This is like an older style. I think the DX7S would have something like that. I actually like the skinny one that they put on the Pro Plus. Take a look there. See, it's a little skinny guy. I don't like this antenna as much. I think this was added on there for better range with Bluetooth. I like there's a little stumpy guy that's all metal. That's on the 7 Pro. So what do we got on the back here? We have XLR preamp out, XLR line out. XLR line out, that is what you're going to use for going to your balanced monitors. Then we have coax 1 and 2 in. I think because the physical size just got bigger, they just started doubling things up, right? Realistically, I think that's what's going on there. Because you have optical 1 and 2 as well. This is more than I will ever use. You know what I use? USB. I might start using AES because the Cambridge Audio iPod dock I have has that. However, I can't set it up at the moment because I think all the setup menu, all the setup items for the Cambridge audio dock are on the TV, like because you're supposed to connect like an output to it, because it's for the iPod video, or classic video. So I think it assumes you hook the dock up to your TV or into a receiver that can at least go to the TV. So I need to figure that out. Hopefully, once you set the settings in the Cambridge audio dock, it just remembers it, because I want to go out of the AES into here, or at least into my DX7 Pro at work. Might be the Pro Plus now at work. I'm not sure. If that one's gonna go out for repair. The other one might go out for repair too, and I might be stuck with the DX7s at work. Which luckily the 7S is the oldest one that still uses the same driver. You also have unbalanced preamp and line out over here. This coax one, that's for the Bluetooth, or sorry, not coax one. This Bluetooth one is for the Bluetooth. I think in the pictures it uses that all plastic antenna. I really I think I've seen them on Amazon with their like little stumpy guys that have a metal right angle on them. Really need to pick that up. Everything, like, they just doubled everything up on here. The preamp out could be very useful if you want to go into a mixer board, or you want to go into a different amp. That's preamp. That I might actually use, like with this being as high end as it is. Maybe I could try, like if I want to try a tube amp, could go out of the to be truthful, it probably wouldn't be the XLR. I don't think XLR preamps are that common as an output on a DAC amp. Like this is pretty high, at least from my experience. Remember, I'm kind of like the all-in-one. I'm very happy with my all-in-ones because I only need the one box. I know it's got a good DAC and amp. Asus Essence 1 is what really set me off on that. It even had two separate knobs, one for your headphone and one for your speakers, and it had XLR out. Did not have balanced headphones out. That I got later on with an XLR on the DX7s, and then a 4.4 millimeter on DX7 Pro. So now one thing different, if you guys have had the DX 7 series, DX, there's even a DX5 series. Realistically, if you guys are entering the market like not way up here and like are looking for an upgrade or whatever, but you want that balanced speaker out, the DX5, and they even have a DX5 Lite that doesn't have MQA. I don't believe this is MQA because MQA is kind of fallen out of fashion. The DX5 Lite has that. If you're looking for that balanced monitor, which realistically, to be truthful, I even have like the Mackie 3s. They have way too much bass in my opinion. If you have more money, go for the Atom Audio. Much more balanced. The Mackies are far too bassy, in my opinion. They don't sound bad. They're much better than like having a different side kind of speaker. Also, with those, it's balanced into one, and then you just go speaker terminals to another one. So it's kind of like balanced-ish. That knob got plenty of click. I will say I think that the 7 Pro feels better. This does have more weight to it, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily better. Like it just feels like a bigger knob on the same mechanism, if that makes sense. Like it does have a lot of tactility to it. But the 7 Pro was a nice improvement. The 7 or Pro Plus, this feels like the same as the 7 Pro Plus, just bigger. The 7 Pro, that one feels really tactile because it doesn't stick out that far this way. What I was going to say though is if you have any of there's even a DX3 and a DX1. If you don't need balanced, and you just need DAC amp, DX1 maybe. If you need DAC amp with balance, I think DX3 has that. Then DX5 has headphone and speaker balanced. DX7 is like, I don't know, call it like bit perfect, but in some cases they use the same chips between lower versions of the 7, and since the 5 is just newer. One thing they did, though, is if you look, they put, and I don't know how much you're going to like this, because I always put my DAC amp, whoa, sorry, I always put my DAC amp to the left, like this. So that is why, it's sitting over there like that. It's about boat one, right? So headphones are here. I'm sitting where the tripod or gorilla pod is, so this headphone jack is closer to me, right? So I can use a shorter cable by this much. Nice to do. And I can just go like this for speaker up and down, like this, right? That's on the wrong side for me. It's much bigger though, so I don't know if I'm gonna have to plan like longer headphone cables because of it, because I don't know if I'm gonna have to get the cable to go all the way around, not just boop, but like burp, I'm guessing with the layout, which is kind of cool, and that's how we'll bring this up, that and if you're running, you're like, oh, you spent more on this, or bro, if you spent more on this, why is it a big deal that comes out in a different spot? Well, all of these have had headphone jacks here, sometimes in a different spot, like depending if the XLR is the main one they're using, or quarter inch, or they added the 4.4 millimeter later, etc. They've all been pretty much the same layout. The DX9 is where they changed, because it has the 2 screens up front. The other thing is, if we take a peek at what's on top here, just get your taller. There you go. There we go. So it actually has, let me peel this off. This is a later edition, I think. Because it actually has the layout of where stuff is, which is kind of cool. Originally, this whole thing glowed red in here. I don't know if it still does. I kind of liked it, but I was hoping it was switchable. Like every picture they showed the red on. Okay, so it is 12 volt trigger, which means this will turn on with 12 volts. I'm pretty sure the 7 Pro Plus had that. Yeah. Back of this is very much like the USB connection. How it's recessed in there, just a hair behind that back plate. Definitely more vibes of the Pro Plus. The finish on this is very much more of the Pro and previous models, but the design cues are more of the Pro Plus. I like the design of the Pro Plus, but this, especially this black one, like it just looks mean. So on the top here, we've got our 15th anniversary badge. And then it actually has here's switching power supply over in this region. That's why you actually have a power button over here. Power button right there. Normally these do not have a physical power button like that on the front, like a click clack. It also says select, so I don't know what that's for. Normally there's a physical power button, and then the power button on the remote, or if you hold the front of it, is this right here. That will put it into sleep or standby. And that's where the 12 volt switching will turn it on. Or at work where I actually turn off my computer, unlike at home. That's why at home we have the one that automatically turns off the display. At work, less of an issue because it's only on while I'm working. There's not been one of these with a power button yet, I don't think, because normally it's like when the output turns back on, it senses, right? So if the USB sends a signal, it wakes it, right? From what I gather, these since there's two screens, they take data that they've previously had, and they can actually just display it. Whereas before, like, you'd have to switch menu to verify certain things like outputs, or it would be like jammed in the front. So this is really cool. I want to see if it still does the whole lights up red. Here you go. 6-channel high performance discrete NFCA modules. So that's 6 balanced, 3 balanced outputs, essentially 6 channels, right? So I believe all the front ones are on 1. You can color me incorrect. I haven't actually looked this up. But I believe these are all 1. By these, I need to back off a little bit. Or backed off too far. There you go. By that, I mean headphone jacks, so your... Oh, they made them line up. That's cool. So, on the other ones, you might have seen that the 4.4 mil was kind of like originally an afterthought. Like they took the design that had the 1/4-inch jack and the XLR, and they added in a 4.4 mil. For this one, it looks like they made the cutout or the mill out the exact same size as a 1/4-inch, but then put in a 4.4 mil, or didn't mill away enough. But what that allowed them to do is center the 4.4 mil, and because they made the outline around it the same size as the 1/4-inch, it matches much better. Which, for something like this, the XLR is centered in the actual radius of this, and then these would look better if they were centered, but the button over here isn't. That was probably done purposely. These probably are because they have to be soldered to the PCB that's in here, and that PCB is set pretty low. I do really actually appreciate them raising up the 4.4 mil, because they could have done what they've done on other ones where that isn't raised up. Now, this actually may be, because they say 6 discrete channels, but I'm actually seeing 2 caps on a bunch of stuff. So if this is 6 discrete, it might be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. No, it wouldn't make any sense, because there's only 2 sets back here. So I don't know if pre and these share, or what. We'll have to probably take a look at the manual. But we've also got, I'm sure it's all explained on their website. They always use, annoyingly, they always use like JPEG pictures, so it's a butt to like actually browse their website. They need a better website designer. So hybrid relay volume control, performance converter, low noise driver, AK4499 DAC, low noise driver, SPDIF receiver. So that's from either of the, because SPDIF is both optical and coaxial. It turns out also these can do higher resolution than I thought they could. I've always seen them in like a home theater use case where they can only do 2448 or maybe 2496. Turns out they can do like 24192, depending on like how that's set up. So you get your Bluetooth receiver and an XMOS XU316. No idea. I'm not too much into, like, this thing is beefcakey. It's definitely bigger too, because they put proper, and maybe this is them trying to get more into the like, because they're already in the audiophile market, they have discrete products, but like this is like a higher end. I think the point of this, and this is kind of the route I'm going with my having multiple optical and coax inputs is interesting, because I'll be able to output, like I have the Moondrop CD player coming. I think that's only analog out, but you can use stuff to convert analog out to digital pretty easily, like especially to coax. Same thing with my I think it's RCA in for that. So we can always convert that if we have to as well. Or we can go into a box and have that go in. There's a bunch of
different ways. But having this, like, this is giving me more of a center and a control center for a audiophile setup than kind of previously, where it was all supposed to be like a all-in-one thing, but you kind of use it. I don't know. Maybe I'm incorrect, but I kind of always just use it as set and forget. Plug it in USB, use it for output of the computer, or if you did have it in an audiophile setup, like plug your thing in and let it rip. Whereas this definitely seems to have a significant more amount of inputs and outputs for kind of hooking into your other components. And it is sized beefier for that. Like I said, you can see the bigger, it's got like a proper set of feet on it. Whereas before they just had rubber nubbins. Now, I kind of like the fact that previously every single revision that I have has been smaller. Now, this is not a DX7. There is a chance that whatever the new DX7 is going to be, if it even follows this design key, because the DX7 Pro Plus is fairly new. It may follow this design cue because they have the DX7. The DX7 Pro Plus is based on DX5 design language wise, but then they have their DAC amp stuff where they stack them, and they have much more of a square design than a round design like this. So, yeah, I do actually like the nice embossed topping here. That looks really good. Original designs I saw did not have the 15th anniversary on them, but they also glowed red. They didn't have that little design on the top showing where stuff was. So this has definitely been a developing product, and I've kind of watched it along the way as it went. Really cool. If I recall, these front screens are like color too, where they have way more info. Where the spot I have open on my desk right now, I don't think this is going to fit, and stuff is definitely not going to line up. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Topping also, for those of you that are like, oh, I need something with a microphone in. They actually now make stuff with XLR in. They're actually making stuff with inputs, which is really cool because I like their design language. The quality of their products for me has been, I mean, the latest one has had its issues. I'll admit that. Previously, though, they're one of the few people that meet my needs of having the, originally it was just XLR balanced speaker out, and you could flip it between line out or preamp out. That carried through all of them, and then it had a headphone jack, and then it turned out it also had a balanced XLR out, which I hadn't had before. Like some of the later Essence models from Asus, before they killed the line, did have that. Like they had mini XLR and similar things. So I recabled my R70Xs. I got a new cable for them. That was XLR. Used that for a long time. Loved it. Great setup. Still use those headphones. Probably one of my favorite pairs, if not. They're one of my endgame headphones, for sure. Maybe not endgame as in, like, oh, you can always get a better pair. Or, like, realistically, I think above them, like, better is subjective. Like, because you get much more in the audiophile thing of, like, they're only in the $350 range, right? But you get much more in the, like, how and what you prefer to hear. And, like, materials just start becoming more premium for no... I'm going to say no benefit, but realistically $200. If you guys are just interested in audio and different headphones, shop in the $200 range. You can buy that way. You can buy like a whole bunch of different ones and figure out what you like. Here, these Philips Fidelio X1s that I have that I put did a video on putting new ear cups on. I gotta get them a new cable yet. But you can kind of use any 3.5 mm. It'll be better than the shit it shipped with. Or I've got my MDR 7520s with a cable from Audio Sound. How did I find Audio Sound? They're out of the UK. They were one of two companies that would make cables for the R70Xs back in the day. So what do we got here? We have user manual, quick start guide, warranty terms, bringing sincerity to music, bringing beauty to the world. So this pack thing here, that is basically what was in the DX7 Pro. Cheap USB cable, like to the point where you can see either the shield, I think it's the shielding, not the wires in there. Buy a decent one, ideally with ferrites on it. You know, doesn't have to be super high-end audiophile, but like you want some ferrites. In many cases, DAC amps do not even need. They only need the two. They don't need the power bits of the USB cable because that's all being provided by the DAC amp. That may have something to do with it waking up though, because it sends power and wakes it up or whatever. I mean, you got a 1/4 inch to 3.5 mil. These are surprisingly common and easy to get. However, I never have them when I need them. Except when I have them and I don't know I have them. Turns out I really needed one for my setup at work because I was just using balance and it was a 3.5 mil that I was plugging into a 1/4 inch. Couldn't find it anywhere. And then it turned out, oh, I literally had this in the headphone case already because it was common for me to want to plug those using a 3.5 mil cable because it was just a shorter cable than the 1/4 inch cable and stuff. And I was like, wow, I feel like a dumbass because I was literally like hunting around to find this adapter when in fact this adapter was literally already in the headphone box. In here, same cheap plastic antenna. I mean, like I said, I think they switched to this because it has yeah, it's literally the same antenna because it has more range, literally taller. With most omnidirectional 2.4 gigahertz antennas, which is what Bluetooth is, 2.4 gigahertz, the taller the antenna, the better range it's going to have. The more dB gain, basically. And as long as the radio has enough strength, more antenna, more better. Okay, it's that simple. I'll probably slap that on there because I do use the Bluetooth for my phone from time to time. What I do not like about topping stuff so far is if it is not currently paired to something, it is always accessible. So literally when I'm in the other room trying to pair stuff and I'm by the TV on the couch trying to pair like a keyboard to my laptop or to the home theater PC, always showing up perpetually. Even like it should only show to pair a Bluetooth device, in my opinion, when it is on Bluetooth and in pairing mode. But it'll show even when it's not set to Bluetooth. I haven't checked the DX9, but at least the DX7 Pro and Pro Plus will both show when not on Bluetooth. They'll both show up in when you search for stuff, which is super duper annoying. Also, then if it's ever been on Bluetooth, like once it's paired with your device, if it ever switches to Bluetooth, switching off of Bluetooth does not turn off Bluetooth. There should be a way to do that because what happens then is my phone, like at work, I'll listen to I'll pair Bluetooth it to the DX7 Pro, and I'll switch back to the PC to get PC sounds. Well, my phone is still paired to it, even though it's not on. Even though it's not on the output for it, so all my sounds from my phone are going to the DAC amp that I currently am not listening to because it's on a different output. So there should be options for that, in my opinion. It is the exact same remote, like I said it would be. RC22. Yeah. And what's funny is they ship it with an Allen key because they insist on. I mean, I agree. Philips is dumb. It's just funny that they use Allen. And they have to send you a Allen key for it. I don't know. Use Torx. Is that more common? Otherwise, use Philips because I mean that's more common. Then you don't have to ship a little doodle with it. But this probably costs them literally nothing because it's just the cheapest Allen key. To be truthful, I wouldn't use it if you have actual Allen keys or like a little iFixit bit kit set. That's gonna be way nicer to deal with this than using that stupid thing. Also wouldn't use you can use it, it's a USB cord, it'll work. Same thing with the power cord. Get yourself some nice power cords. You can get some pre-made ones on Amazon, eBay. or go to like one of the audiophile shops, possibly where you even bought this, and buy yourself a nice power cable and USB cable. A lot of them will ship without ferrites. I would rather have you can get a trip light USB cable with ferrites on both ends, designed for like controlling a UPS, for example. It's going to be gold plated. That is going to be better than some fancy paracorded up USB cable that doesn't have ferrites, in my opinion. I might be wrong on that, but in my opinion, like I said, look, I have these really old Belkin gray cables, and minus one that got fried in a surge, same surge that like possibly wrecked the screen on the DX7 and took out one of the channels on the subwoofer. That poor USB cable died in there. But I have some like a lot of you, if you like say been using computers since the 90s, you'd know it's the ones that Belkin sold as printer cables. They're like gray. They have a very specific mold on the end. Those are some of the most reliable cables out there. I've only ever had one go. I literally find those and keep them if I see them in their good condition at like secondhand shops even. Because that is back when every USB cable was overbuilt. That happened with USB-C early on. You can see it as Google went from the Pixel 1 to the Pixel 2. Same thing there. Then they would go to the Pixel 3. Cable's suddenly shorter. Cable's thinner. Cable has less conductors in it. Oh, they found out we don't need that many anymore. We don't need to make it as good. Oh, we don't need then we go to the Pixel 5. Oh, we don't need the shielding in the cable anymore. Because it's just a power cable now. And it's just like, it's rough. Same sort of thing happened with standard USB cables back in the day. So some of the best cables, in my opinion, as long as they're not wrecked, are some of these like very early USBs, because they're way overbuilt. They hadn't figured out, it hadn't been commoditized yet, right? They hadn't figured out how cheap they could make them, so they way overdid them. That's why something like I think it was a trip light, that's just got two ferrites on it. Nice chunky thick cable, got shielding. That's gonna be better than some fancy pants. Like here, I would actually say it's better than. If we go over to that thing, that they consider an audiophile USB A to C cable. Does it look like light nice? Yes. Is it all cool and braided? Yes. It's very stiff actually though. Supposedly the cable has it uses silver wire. But remember, this isn't audio. That's data. You don't need that. Like, it's literally just data. You can pay extra for that, but like I said, in many cases, the ferrite is going to be of more benefit than the fancy silver cables. Keep that in mind. Also, with power cables, you can get yourself a standard power cable. There's one brand out there I know of that makes shielded standard. They look exactly like the cheap thing I threw on the floor. They actually feel better though, because they use a better rubber plastic. Right, they look like this, but they're shielded. So it's just I'll have them linked down below. I think you can get them on Amazon. They're a little bit more expensive than buying directly from the company. Normally I buy them I think you get a discount like 5 or 10. So I'll buy 5 or 10 at a time. Friends will use them as well, but they use like a foil shielding around the power cable. It's the only ones that I've seen stock. Is it NEMA 15P or something like that? Just a standard PC cable like you'd use for this. But they are actually shielded, which is super important, especially when you're running next to audio cables. Even if they're balanced, I would still say get the shielded power cable if you can. I know the balancing should negate that. Keyword is should. And then you can add ferrites to those. Now, obviously, better ferrites are the ones that are molded straight into the jacket. They're going to be closer to the wires and stuff like that. You can just get snap-on ferrites. I've figured out various sizes for like XLR cables, for power cables, for USB cables. Actually, USB actually has some dedicated sizes from the good old TK. Some of you might remember those from, you'd be like, oh, from CDs or DVDs. I always think of tape. Maybe I'm crazy with my cassette tape, or maybe VHS tape. But yes, they did make some of the cheaper, in my opinion, at least what I found around here, cheaper CD and DVDs when you get the spindles of them. And they're sized exactly to what the spec size of a standard USB 3 or USB 2 cable should be. You know, like example that Trip Light or any of these like made to standard like early Google cables for USB-C, etc. Because and you're like, well, why does 2 and 3 matter? Well, when they added how USB 3 got faster is it's basically like they just added more pins. So instead of 4, you had another 5 pins on there. Well, you got 5 more wires. Thus, cable is thicker, and it needed to be better shielded as well. So, thus you need a different sized ferrite for it. Sometimes just a nice loop in a cable. Ideally, better than a loop is even a figure 8. Or throwing a ferrite on a cable can fix stuff. Now remember though, ferrites don't keep out RFI, radio frequency interference. They prevent it from leaving the cable. So that's why all your stuff should have it. Like especially stuff like mice do their polling rate and like your movement kind of constantly. The good ones will have ferrites on them. So that's where like you don't want ferrites to prevent stuff from getting in. It doesn't do that. It prevents stuff from getting out. That's why everything should have it, especially audio equipment, in my opinion. That's where also like you should get over here. We have if you're doing any audio equipment with amplification, that sort of stuff, get yourself a sine wave UPS, not a standard one. Especially when you're running analog amplifiers and that sort of stuff, not having a sine wave UPS will cause a hum. Same thing you would get like with an older monitor. We're talking like way over there. The top guy is the original Asus ProArt that has CCFL backlighting. So you might get like a buzz out of it, or you might actually even be able to see it cause frequency issues with that. Because it's actually like an analog controlled backlight on there, especially with the old CRTs. If you used a square wave going in, which is what happens when you don't get a nice smooth sine wave, you would get flicker, and much more noticeable. That would line up with the 60 hertz refresh rate. So, especially when doing anything that has analog stuff related to it, get yourself a sine wave. In my opinion, just don't. They're not that much more. Like I would say, for example, if a 900 watt, which is a 1200 VA, I believe, like what that is over there, say it's $180 for a non sine wave one. It's gonna be $210, $220 for a sine wave one. Spend the extra. That way you can use it for You can plug your speakers in and not worry about issues. You can plug your monitors in and not worry about issues. You can plug your audio equipment in if you got a mixer board, that sort of stuff. You can plug that in there without issues or expecting issues. So that's just some tips. I'm gonna get this hooked up and get this plugged in. I already got the driver because there's a new driver that came out for the DX9. And it was compatible with the DX all the way back to the DX7s still. So, the original DX7 is not supported. Lucked out there. But what's nice about everything using the same driver is I can just have them in different locations and plug them in and use them. You know, like at work I got the DX7 Pro. At home I got the DX7 Pro Plus previously. Don't need to do anything. Single driver, boom. And then at my work desk, I had the DX7s. Previously, that was at work, etc. So we're going to plop this right here. This is one of the shielded power cables I was telling you guys about that I added my own ferrite to. This is a custom cable I had made. It is a copper colored paracord covered in black Tech Flex. If you've seen this technique, I was probably one of the first people to do it. And then we got a ferrite on there. Now, ferrites, this is left here for flexibility. It's this far away. Realistically, when you install a ferrite, it should be like this guy. Now, you might not want to put it right up against the connector like this one. Luckily, I know that the DAC amp is going to be X amount in. so I can do that. The reason why you might not want it right on the connector is that's going to add if it tries to bend right there, that'll be bad for strain relief. So often I'll use 2 fingers or 3 fingers before I space the ferrite out. This one got made longer than that because we didn't know. Some of these have had to plug into things, or like say if you have a microphone, you can't have the ferrite here. It's not going to go in your thing, but you can't have it way over here. Like you don't want it hanging out, so you might want to hide it over here or something. You know what I mean? But yes, ideally, because where the most RF is at the connector, so you want it as close as you can, if that's possible. Sometimes, especially in like the back end of the UPS, you notice some of those are not as close as others. You know, depending on how soon they have to bend, is really what's happening. The closer is better. There are some ferrites you loop the cable through. Those are good, but they're harder to find. Sometimes you use a bigger ferrite and loop it through to take up that space. The best ones are molded in. It is very hard to find that nowadays for certain things, especially like power cables or XLR, that sort of stuff. So you can just get the right size, snap it on. The ferrous material that's in here is for different frequencies. You don't always have a choice, though. If you do have a choice, pick the one closer to the frequency that you're trying to block, which you might have to do a bunch of research on. I'm almost no good there. But a lot of times to get the size that I've needed, I have not had too much of a choice in the like what frequency the ferrous material is designed to block. Here's my second plug balanced headphone. It's 4.4 mil balanced to 3.5 mil that I just throw on the ground. That's so I can use some of these headphones with the iPod and some other stuff without having to get a different cable, because I already bought one nice cable. I was originally talking about getting 2 nice cables, and Audio is actually the ones that talked me out of it. And they're like, you know, you could just like buy one of these DD Hi-Fi ones and do that. And I was digging around, and they recommended this one, and I found some other options that they actually ended up adding to their... Throw it on the ground again. I'm clumsy, guys. Hopefully we don't do that to the new DAC, right? So you can literally see the outline of the whole deck. It's been dusty in the basement because we've been doing a lot of construction and stuff. New ones ain't not fitting there. I can tell you that much. So let's see what we can do about getting that in there. Yes, we're using unbalanced speakers right now. They're just the Insignia bookshelves. Actually, really, really good for the money, because on Employee you can get them for about $50. They're normally $200. Even on Best Buy sale at $100, I think they're hard to beat personally. They have Bluetooth. They have NFC. They sound really good. Yes, they're literally behind my monitors right now. That is why I don't care that they're unbalanced. Normally I would never set that up, but I don't really have elsewhere to put them, and I just wanted some way to listen to like YouTube, you know, YouTube without putting headphones on. Gaming headphones, because I don't have my good studio monitors. Otherwise, yes, I would even play FPS games with studio monitors. And you're like, why? What about spatial awareness? Good studio monitors, correctly configured. That's actually hard to beat. Like, they're going to be as good. Maybe not as good as a pair of headphones, but like really darn good, because they're effectively doing the same thing. Now, if they're behind monitors, yeah, it doesn't work. You know what also does not help? When I put on my R70Xs on backwards, so left is right and right is left, I get very confused then. So, yeah. I'm going to get this hooked up, get maybe dust off that spot a little bit, so that the new shiny doesn't get... God, it's so big! I don't know if I'll be able to fit it there. Oh, we'll do what we can. Oh, gosh. Just thought I would give you perspective. I just tried turning on regular car reviews latest video or resuming it, so that when I was doing this setup and cleanup, I would have something playing. That's how much I use this, right? Problem is that is where the audio was coming out of. DAC amp to the speakers. Lack of DAC amp. Thus no audio.
Sigh. So have I mentioned is big? It literally didn't fit the other way. Now, this did solve my issue of this jack not being close enough. Because now it's really close. Because it's right here. What that does mean is I can't really see the display well. I could probably push it back more, like away from the edge. I may end up doing that, but I need to get all of my cables plugged in here first. Yeah. Just for size, reference for those wondering, this is the DX7 Pro Plus. I don't want to set its dusty self on top of here, but it is only slightly wider than this is deep. Just for reference there. So I could fit 2 plus of these in this same. Here, see? This used to be right there. Could fit 2 of these. Hopefully DX9 justifies it. But it is, if you guys are used to, like I said, this has gotten smaller every time. Not significantly, I would say. Actually, DX7 Pro was significantly smaller than DX7s, but like, that's still 2 DX7s, I want to say. She's a big boy. I can see why this is more designed for being in. And yes, if you notice, I said she's a big boy. Exactly. We're covering both sides of that. We'll have to see when I get upstairs in my final setup how it'll actually stay. I mean, this isn't necessarily bad because these are right near me. If I can push it a little bit further away, which I would be able to do on a bigger desk, especially if these were on arms, because that would not be that close, and I could even stuff it under it a little bit. Less of an issue, because this is actually closer now when it's turned this way. However, I can't really read the screen. When it was turned this way, you know, like 90 degrees, I could always read the screen, because I'm sitting here, and you just go like this, you go, boop, and you see the screen right here, right? So now I look at the screen, boop, you get like side. So viewing angles better be dang good. That's where if you pushed it back a little bit, you'd be better off. I do like short cables, so 1.25 meter, I think, is the shorter Sony one, or the wears out super easy. I want to replace this one with a custom one. I'm working on that. Getting connectors that actually work with the M1ST and the MV1 are quite hard because they're screw-on balanced, which really isn't a thing in the US or UK, it seems. So here's my custom one from Audio. This is my second custom. They made me a 4.4 mil, nice braided one, because I originally had XLR. And the 4.4 mil is just way easier to use. Just pop that in there. You can use a bunch of different adapters. XLR is fine if that's all it has, or they're like, especially older designed headphones or really powerful ones will use it. It's fine if that's all. If that's all the thing has or is available, cool. In this case, I have a good rapport with audio sound, and even though I can't get the connectors for the R70Xs, they found some that fit in there still, even though they're not retaining like my original cable I have from them. But they're shorter actually, which that's a big thing with the R70X, is that the cables, the cups are pretty wide, and then the cables stick out like that far. On these ones that recess inside, they only stick out like that far. So like once they're up in there. Actually kind of an improvement. So let me get this plugged in the rest of the way, and we'll see if we can nudge it. See, here's the other issue, is I'm sitting here. If I nudge this too far that way, I start cutting off my screen. And this is a very temporary. So you're like, Elliot, this place is like a fucking mess. And yeah, exactly. It's supposed to be temporary setup. It's been better part of a year. All right, so, ooh, it does light up. Fucking awesome. Way to kill the lights. I'm happy. Hopefully we can turn that off though, just in case. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh, and it's more of an orange than a red. So happy. I much prefer orange or yellow LEDs over, well, here, orange. Orange PC. You know. Didn't really, like, I don't know. I decided, like, I looked at a fractal pop and it was like, this case is perfect. Will fit everything I need. Decided not to build in my case labs because I didn't want to deal with the water cooling anymore. And it turned out mint. Check out that build. But yeah, so I'm like they showed that as being much more of a red in all the pictures, and I'm happy it's still there because some of the later pictures were not showing it with the lighting. And I'm not saying it fails without the lighting, not at all. Oh, and by the way, this does clear. For those wondering, just barely. I am interested in the XLR in version of the topping stuff. I don't know if that's out yet though. So what we have here is full color displays. Currently on low gain. It's showing PCM, USB. Let's click on sound. Oh, it's detecting it as the DX7 Pro for whatever reason. That's because I renamed this. There we go. It changed over. Oh, it actually has like a VU meter. Oh, is it on both sides? Oh shit, you guys can't see anything because we got the 5X. So I'll have to check what DAC amps this or DAC is in here because it's my previous one was DX7 Pro Plus, right? And we'll still be using that just in a different configuration down here. Well, and I haven't restarted this computer yet, but at least without a restart, it shows up because I renamed that device as the DX7 Pro Plus. The DX9 is currently, at least with the current driver, let's double click topping. Build is right there. Status. Oh, it does see the DX9. Boom. Right there. DX9 audio device. So it seems like the driver is not, like, it just sets that as the topping output device, essentially, rather than a specific device. Because here we go. We have topping DX9 with the revision number. Doesn't show my serial number. Good. So what we're gonna rename this is just to topping, like that, since apparently it's not device specific. Yeah, it just shows up as like any of the ones supporting, at least so far, the two I have plugged into it here. Show up as the same, and this is my previous remote. I checked; they don't give you a bat for that, so I have to go find one. I'll just use this. It's the same remote. Like I said, technically the DX7 Pro Plus came with like the plasticky bigger remote. This thing's like a friggin' weapon, and with the updated look to it, I definitely picked it up rather than the plasticky one it came with. So this, if I hit the macro button, which is what it used to be called, now it's called menu button. So we got display, home, normal, VU meters, FFTs, or FFT. That might be interesting. Can I play music without getting issues? Probably not. Especially with something in Deezer. That's for sure. For sure. So there you go. You can see that in there. That's all configurable in that menu. Brightness, medium, high, auto, low. I kind of vibe with the low. High is too bright. Medium, if you actually want to see the background, it does show up more. For me, probably keep it on low. For you guys, I'll bump it up so you can see it easier.
View style classic blue. So it's not that. It must be when you have it in view mode here. Yep. Oh, so that's like, that's much more what I would be used to. Like 2000s era. I don't know. Let me know what settings you guys would rock here. Level meter all on. Normal page. FFT page. Oh yeah, because there's pages of settings in here. And this is level meter basically probably so that it's the levels are on every page. Then it's on when on the standard page, which is this one, right? Then it's on the FFT page. So that's probably why they don't have you setting this to FFT here, because you can always switch to it. That'd be my guess, at least, right? Because why have that? I mean, I guess if you find you want that as your main page, always might as well set it. But we'll just leave all on for now. Screen, normal. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. So if this, like for me, this is closer. If that's the info I want, they let you flip them. That's smart. That's smart. LED meet. Oh, yep, you can control the LED. Off, low, medium, high. I think the low is mean. It's just got the glow to it, you know. I'm glad they kept it. And originally there wasn't. I don't believe they mentioned a way to turn it off. But just that low glow is just in the black. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. So that was all under display. We got the batteries dying on the phone here. Input USB, output mode all, HPA line out, preamp. I think that's headphone audio is HPA. That would make sense. So headphone audio off, 6.3, which is quarter inch, 4.4, which is balanced XLR, or you can have all of them. So if you know you're only using one, you can restrict it to that. Line out, off, RCA. Yep, we want RCA for line out. Preamp, don't have that set up yet. Gain, that's for the headphones. High gain, yes. It's odd that you have to confirm it. Because it'll switch right back to low. But you have to confirm for high. Maybe people were accidentally popping, and I kind of did that. The MV1s are not high gain by any means. The M1STs even more so. I do have to put it in order to use the R70Xs. You don't have to put it in high gain, but if you want to be at the same volume levels on the amp, you should put it in high gain for the R70Xs because they are considerably higher gain. They're kind of on the border, I would say, a little bit. Definitely more towards high gain. But I have done it before where I left it in high gain and plugged these in. You know, lovely, right? Trigger on, off, signal. Yeah, we want signal. That means if it gets a signal from the USB, it turns on. PCM filter F3. I do not remember what the best filters were, so I'm just gonna leave it until I go and read the manual again. Which ones? Like there's like right now we're on short delay, sharp roll off. DSD is F1. I don't remember which ones are which. I mean, I imagine now. Return. If we click this, oh yep, see, look. It actually shows you the name. This is actually like super nice. They need to add this on their single mode ones, because you can change this, but you have to like memorize low dispersion, sharp roll off, slow roll off, short delay, sharp roll off. I don't remember what was the best or the most recommended there.
Channel balance center. Yeah, that's all we want. DAC mode, preamp, DAC, Bluetooth. Hey, you can actually disable Bluetooth. That's good. I think on some of the other ones you can, but it's on like the pre-menu thing. Remote enabled. Hey, that's cool that you can disable that as well. Button input select, output select, home select, brightness. Okay, so you can control what the center button does when you press it. Input select, output mode select, filters, mute. To be truthful, that actually might be the most useful one out of all of it. By default, it's input select, so we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it at that. Hey, King Arthur showed up. Hey, King Arthur. How's King Artie? Yeah, Paisley's been in the videos lately. USB UAC 2.0, UAC 1.0. I believe that restricts it to 24-bit 48 kilohertz. I do believe, because that's like the driverless mode. I don't remember the IIS phase. DSDR. That's all for the IIS plug back there. Mute on return. Yeah, so it's kind of cool that now we get menu. Hey, cut that out. So for me, I don't want to see this screen. That's the one I want. So I'm definitely, because of where it sits, if I'm sitting here and I go like this, first thing I want to see is not this info as to what's playing or whatever. I want to see my volume. Just for reference, because sometimes it gets crazy. Screen. Inverted. So if we hit back now, look at that. So when we do... I don't know what all the clicking is. Clicky, clacky, clicky, clacky. And updated to 192. Jungle Fire. Banger song, guys. Banger song. So glad Motes could do that for MF Ghost anime. I gotta retighten up my... By the way, get these cup holders. IKEA, amazing. Keeps your drinks off the... Oh, that's why that headphone cable fell. Big old King Arthur's in there. So if we want... Oh, headphone set to all, so it'll do both. So this is where if we hit headphone select... Yeah, we just want all there. But if we do line out... Ooh, I don't know. So one thing that both the DX7 Pro and Pro Plus will do is you don't have to double click. This is doing both by default, right? I'll have to see what the settings are for this, right? Because right now, if I output... Like, you can basically switch modes where... Like, how I like using it is either it's outputting the headphones, then I click headphone mode, like that, right? Or I hit line out mode, and it uses that, right? Now I'm in RCA line out mode. Cool. Then we hit headphone mode. Now I have to like go and select what one it is. I don't really care. Just go that. But it's still outputting the RCA. I'll have to read the manual and see. And I might even just message topping as previously. What I would do is I would use these two to select between whether I'm using headphones or line out. And then, because selecting them would turn that output on, right? And then double clicking would then go through the menu of like, if you want to change it from XLR or headphone or, but if you just click headphone, you switch that. Now, if you're ready on headphone, you click headphone, then it'll start switching what mode you're on. It seems like you do both, which is kind of closer to how the DX7s is. So you'd actually have to cycle through like this and go to off if you want no
sound going through the lineouts. So brightness is still on here, so I really don't need that control for it. Auto is the on off. Yeah, we just want signal. Fur. It actually goes in that menu. Cool. So yeah, the only thing I'm kind of grumpy about is this is up and down, but it's not using the relays for adjustment. That's why we're getting the click clacking. And this should be input, right? There's our USB. I might suggest, because these get firmware updates and stuff like that, right? I would like to see, because I don't know how many people, let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know in the comments, how many of you use speaker or line out at the same time as headphone out? And it's not like you can't configure that to happen with the DX7 Pro or Pro Plus. You can do that if you want that mode. But by default, what this does is switch between, like if you're on headphone, you hit line out, it'll switch to the last mode used for line out. If you're on line out and you hit headphone, it'll switch to the last mode used for headphone. And then on the DX7 Pro Non-Plus, instead of this going into a menu, it just toggles gain. Now this should be menu now. It used to be macro, and then that macro turned into the gain macro, and because that wasn't a thing prior, so you need a button for it. Then they went into a whole menu. The menu on here is amazing. We've already been over that. I just don't like, because often what I'll need to do is I'll need to switch between usually it's XLR, but in this case it's RCA line out to headphone, right? So in this case, I would probably just leave these on, but often I leave my headphones plugged in. So then I would actually, when I'm not using this, I would want to turn it off, right? Leave RCA on, right? But then when I want to listen to headphones, instead of just picking them up and hitting headphone, I have to click, okay, well, which one am I using? In this case, we'll use 4.4 millimeter balanced, and then we got to turn off the line out. I don't... Is there like a hold? Oh, that's smart. If you hold headphone, it changes gain. So you don't have to go in the menu anymore. That is awesome. Line out. That disconnects and connects Bluetooth. Oh, that's a forced disconnect button. Remember I was complaining about that with the DX7 Pro and the DX7s? I'll have to try that on mine, but I think they use these buttons for the mode switching, not the other. So what if I do this? Nothing happens when you use macro. Fur? Okay. There is no hold for the fur. What about auto? No hold for auto. Brightness? Oh, holding switches display modes, and that's left and right channel. That's kind of cool. To be truthful, I will probably make this mute, because right now clicking this is input. Select, right? Holding this should be power. No? No, that's holding that is not power because you have... What? That's a menu? We hold it. Okay, so holding this is... So they finally have a dedicated menu button. That's awesome, because previously getting in, you need the remote or hold it prior to booting up. You hold the power button. Like as you're flicking the power switch in the back, you hold the front button, and that'll get you in the menu. So that's kind of cool. You can see that button is pretty hollow. I think it's the same. It might be wrong, but I think it's the same as DX7 Pro, just with a bigger button. Yeah, I don't see a way to just toggle like off. Like if it's off and I press it,
it should just switch to the last mode it's used, which was not RCA, I don't think. And then when I press it again, it should not go to XLR. It's like cycling through all the modes. It should go off and then to the mode and then cycle. Same thing with headphones. If I click this, it should not switch what you're using. It should do on, off, and then cycle if you double tap or something. I'm going to see if there's a way to do it because I want to make sure I get a video on how it's done on the DX7 Pro and the Pro Plus. It is slightly different on those, but very similar, very much improvement from the DX7s. This is far more similar to how it works on the DX7s. And I was told they couldn't, despite it running the same driver and everything, they couldn't update the DX7s to work the same switching way that the DX7 Pro and Pro Plus do. So that might be the case here as well. I want to get an answer on that because I use that all the time. Like the main thing, I basically switch it from line out mode. Like right now we somehow have both off. I don't even know why that's an option. But you know, I'd switch from this and then we go headphones. But now I have to turn off the line out. Like you have to switch. Oh, and then I'm on the wrong headphone output here. It's just remember the last headphone output you use. Like, I don't know. You guys let me know. Well, hopefully this was a good run through for you guys on the DX9. I know we don't have any like audio testing or that sort of stuff, but as somebody who's used DX7s, DX7 Pro, and DX7 Pro Plus, very similar product but increased in every way. I like how the menu stuff is getting more in depth. I like how we have more controls physically on there. Let me know what you would set that center button to. Would you go mute or would you possibly go display change? That's probably what I'm going to be going with because I definitely don't need input change. If I'm doing any of that, really, probably going to get the remote out. Actually, often I just leave the remote right next to the device just because it's easier, especially on the 7 Pro Plus, to get in those menus and navigate stuff. Now, especially because I can just hold down the headphone jack to get the audio gain. Definite improvement there. Things are improving. But I think I've lost one of the features that I might truly like. So hopefully we'll see you guys in a follow-up video. Let me know if there's something that you want me to test out or go through the menus and check out. The other thing that'll be interesting is I didn't see a mode where these turn off, where the screens turn off, like on the DX7 Pro Plus that they added. The DX7 Pro does not have that. It'll dim it, which is already an improvement. This has an option to turn off the display after a set period of time. I did not see that in there. And yes, I know it's a cool multicolored backlit display, etc. But if you're running full stealth mode and you have your LEDs off, or even just you want to enjoy the LEDs more, you might want to turn this off on the front. You never know. So that might be another suggestion I would have. I mean, maybe they'll tell me I'm crazy and that nobody would want that. Like, who would turn off the display? And I would tell them it's the people like me where this PC is on nigh on 24/7. If that has a USB connection from the PC, it will not go into sleep mode. I think it should. Like, there should be a way for that to happen. Because that does it.